easiest route. Let's go. Get to the girl.
We've got this, don't we? Yes! Harry, we're coming. This time will be different. This time we'll save you!
Hello everybody, MechZardX here. I'm back at it again to give y'all another exciting and exhilarating and thrilling episode review over My Hero Academia. And this time I'm going to be reviewing episode 70 called Go. And if you haven't already checked out my last week's episode review over episode 69, you can go ahead and click that card in the corner and check that video out. And then come back and check this one though, because oh my goodness. So I know a lot of y'all been thinking for the past few episodes, we've been kind of going through like the soap opera kind of thing, in the kind of sense that, you know, we've been going through all these tragic different events that were going on, and how each one of these characters, from Tsunade to Izuku to Togeda to the other class students of 1A, just everybody across the board, and how they basically took some L's in terms of them with the Chie Hazakai group. And they were just all kind of rebounding from different unfortunate events. But now we're finally, you know, all the tears, sweat, and the frustration, all that stuff kind of flowed down into the river basin, and that thing has flooded up. And we're basically about to build a bridge and crawl over it now, because this is where the content gets really good in this episode though. And this is the perfect bridge episode from taking all that pent up frustration and all those tragic events from the previous episodes, and we're about to get into some high intense action and some constant non-stop fighting events that are about to go down though. So overall, I thought this was a splendid episode from beginning to end, and oh boy, I'm really looking forward to next week's episode review. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive straight up into this episode review of My Hero Academia.
あの日守ると決めた約束はこの胸に精一杯この涙かき分けて君に全てをあげるからお願いどうか消えないでくれあの日守ると決めた約束
So starting off at the very beginning of the episode, we basically just see the pro heroes, and they were essentially just trying to pin down the location of Overhaul and Eri, and the students that were associated with their work studies couldn't basically say a thing about all the previous events that were going down and everything that they mentioned in the meeting in the previous episode. So there was a lot of, you know, stored up frustration as well as a lot of regrets that was being held within each one of these members that were associated with all of the events that went down. And the scene went back to the moment as soon as they were done with that meeting in the previous episode, and Eraser had basically mentioned that the big three were strong enough that they could basically hold their own alongside with the other pro heroes. But as for the students in class 1A, they were going to be minimally involved. So, you know, they were just going to associate them whenever they needed them at the most, and not anything more than that, essentially. And he essentially told the other people, being Kirishima, Sue, and Ochako, that, hey, you know what, y'all didn't volunteer to be, you know, a part of this operation, so to say. So y'all can back down whenever. There don't be anything held up against you, though. But all three of them basically said, no, you know what, due to these some crazy, unfortunate circumstances, no, I got to be a part of this. I got to put in my 2 cents. I got to put in my time, because I'm striving to be a hero, and if I basically set this out, what would that mean in terms of my overall goal and achievements and stuff? So they basically weren't gonna sit down on this major mission that was about to play out. So there was one other thing that was basically plaguing Izuku throughout all of these different events, and I wanted to touch on this just a little bit, because this is the 3rd or 4th time they brought this up within 3 to 4 different episodes. And that was that one scene of Izuku reflecting back of what Tsunade was warning All Might, that he could die an unsparingly gruesome death. And the fact they brought this up 3 or 4 different times in this episode, I honestly truly do feel like some unfortunate thing is going to happen to All Might. I don't know whether or not it's going to be associated with Overhaul. My gut feeling maybe says something on the lines of Overhaul, or maybe a little team up where Overhaul and and Shigaraki or something like that, though. But I feel like something bad is going to happen to All Might. I don't know exactly how or why, because, you know, he's not actively, you know, using his hero license anymore, but something just doesn't feel right in my stomach, and I wanted to address this now. So whenever that time does finally come later on within the series, or even if it pops up in the season, up in the season 5 or whatever, though, I just want to say I put out my thoughts here in this review, though. But moving straight on, Ida and Todoroki were noticing that Izuku was feeling a little bit edgy and a little bit off his game ever since he started his work study. And leave it up to Ida, who is, you know, one of Izuku's very closest friends, and he just knew that something was off, and he said, hey, if you had anything you want to talk about at all, you can just talk to him. And due to the situations that are going around, of course, Izuku cannot say exactly what's been plaguing him and what's been bothering him all this time, because, you know, it's high classified information and they can't talk to it outside of anybody that was actually directly associated with it. But just hearing those words come from Ida's mouth just really kind of set Izuku at ease, because, you know, that's when, you know, all of that pent-up frustration and the overwhelming sorrow and stuff that's, you know, that's been plaguing him with Eri and stuff with All Might and everything else, it just started to overflow, and you started to see him cry a little bit. And it was nice seeing Ida and Todoroki both hand in hand be able to comfort him, you know, offer him some food. They noticed that his eating habits were a little bit off. It was just nice to basically see those two kind of have a heart-to-heart with Izuku, and just, you know, being able to relate with him, which I thought was a really nice, interesting touch, and honestly was almost a pretty good conclusion to Izuku and how he was kind of dealing with his sorrow, because from that moment onward, he didn't seem like he was that down low in the valley in terms of his sorrow from that point moving forward, though. Now, we quickly bounce back over to the hero organization where all the heroes were basically doing their investigation on the group associated with the Hasakai. And Tsunade told the heroes that were investigating to consider these following while searching these different areas that Tsunade managed to pinpoint that had association with the Hasakai group. Number 1, is this a place where a quirk destroying bullets can be manufactured? 2, do people and goods go in and out frequently? And 3, has the area seen a recent influx of illegal drugs? So you just see scenes with various different heroes is going in and out, up and down, looking down through valleys, you know, watching people as they go, you know, here and there, left and right, just trying to pick up any kind of things that just kind of seemed off with any of these different various locations to see, you know, exactly, you know, what's kind of going down, and try to catch these shady characters that like to stay within the shadows so much. And thankfully, 2 days later, during the middle of the night, there was a call for action, and it finally had arrived. And essentially, it was Izuku, and he was laying in his bed, and he basically had his phone ring, and he noticed it, and he picked it up, and he was like, all right, hey, this is our moment now. And Izuku, Kirishima, Ochako, and Sue, they're basically all gathered around within their dorm. It was like, hey, did you get the message? All right, let's do this, man. It's about time. It's go time. It's game day. It's time to go. And Mr. Ozawa got it, and he was like, wow, you know what? With all the people that were out there, I didn't think it was going to go this fast, but apparently it did. And then you got to see the big three kind of gather all together, just, you know, waking up, you know, trying to get the crust and stuff out of their eyes and stuff, and essentially just, you know, Tokuda pulling himself together and saying, you know what? The time has finally come to redeem myself. So this time I am not going to slip it up, and I'm not going to mess up, because I got to redeem myself this time around. And so later on throughout the day, you got to see the heroes finally all managed to come together, and they finally made a lead on the investigation of the Hasakai, thanks to Tsunade. Now, he managed to overhear a conversation from a guy that was buying an item for little girls, and he managed to use his quirk, which is oversight, on the man and confirm the location of their headquarters. So it was during this moment that finally Tsunade was basically able to use his quirk at a time and opportunity to where it will basically reap the most benefits, because he told everybody, I was not going to use my quirk unless the big opportunity happened to show up to where it'll probably be the most effective, because, you know, with the little bit of restrictions that is on his quirk. And he basically pulled it off. So the moment that he basically touched that dude on the shoulder, he was able to see like the whole layout of, you know, the whole layout that their organization is kind of residing in, exactly where it was at, you know, all the kind of labyrinths, and being able to basically kind of find the shortest route that led all the way down to where they're basically holding Eri at. So, it was really cool to kind of see all of this kind of play out, and the fact of the matter that now we finally got something to go off of, and we can finally start to put some plans into motion. And all the heroes managed to gather together now that they know the location, and they have the search warrants needed in order to, for them to, undergo this operation that can finally raid the base. So this is where things really start to pick up. However, we get a scene change, and we get to go straight back to the Shea Hazaka headquarters, and one of the members manages to see like an unusual high presence of police gathered nearby the headquarters. And Overhaul basically, takes us all in. It's like, oh, okay, this ain't nothing new. I kind of feel like this was probably going to happen. So he instructs the members to proceed according to plan. Now, originally, when I thought about this, I was like, this dude, for him to stay in the shadows this long and to stay off the streets, kind of off the record books, off the grid, and for him to basically kind of lay a low profile all this time, instantly in my mind, I was thinking, you know what? This dude basically knew that, he had people after him. He knew the heroes were going to be after him at some point. So I was thinking, if this dude did not have a contingency plan or a backup plan or a fallback plan or something like that on the lines of one of those things, for them to basically, get a little secret exit and for them to leave, take all of their evidence, either destroy it or carry it out, and basically have like a group, like a stall group that basically will hold them up, at the very beginning, because he basically told everybody that whenever Shigaraki was there, and how Shigaraki almost got lost trying to get to Overhaul, he basically said, this place was strategically kind of made with all those labyrinths, all those twists and turns. So I feel like he basically has the home turf advantage in terms of him being able to kind of maneuver around all of these different corridors, be able to grab all the goods, grab Eri, and basically get his tail out of there and basically disappear and get off the grid, whenever a situation such as this one that's about to play out right now, whenever it's about to all go down and all go down south. So that was one thing that was just kind of running in the back of my mind. So, he's thinking on the same level as me, and these heroes got to move quick if they want to save Eri. So we're going to figure out whether or not they're going to be successful here within this upcoming episode, though. But outside of the base, the police are all gathered by, and the police members manage to tell them about the layout of the building and where Eri could be held at. And a list of all the members that could be associated with the Shea Hazaka, along with a list of their quirks. So this was like some really key insight knowledge that they really needed in order to go in there and raid the base, because hey, in order to be super successful, it is highly recommended for them to know every little piece of information they can about their surroundings, as well as the people that they're going to potentially face, because that's the one interesting thing about My Hero Academia is almost everybody has a very unique quirk. So as a matter of fact, you run into somebody who don't know exactly what their quirk is, that's almost could be a life or death situation, no matter of fact that you don't know what that person's quirk is, because sometimes it's plain as day and super obvious, and other times it's super suspicious and super secret. Sometimes you can't even see the quirks out overall. So it was really nice for them to kind of point that out. And throughout this whole entire talk with the police and stuff, I felt like we were about to do like a secret Black Ops mission where they're basically about to storm into the base and kind of roll in there sort of kind of secretly, although they kind of knew that they were there. But it's like a Black Ops mission, like we're gonna bust down the door, we're gonna knock out some people here, arrest some people there, keep charging for it, try to go after the main golden prize. That's what I kind of felt like during these last few moments of the episode, though. However, there was one little interesting moment right before the raid happened, where there was a quick little scene that Overhaul was looking over the dude that he called Pops. So we're assuming that this is basically his dad, and he was being treated, with some like medical stuff. So I'm trying to figure out what is the association, what's the importance of Overhaul to his dad, and what actually put Overhaul's dad in that kind of situation or in that state as a whole. But I think those are questions for a later day, though. But the police were about to ring the doorbell right before 8:30 or so. I think it was like 8:30 in the morning. Right before 8:30 in the morning, they were about to ring that doorbell and say, you know what? Hey, we're about to issue the search warrant. So the moment that they were going to ring the doorbell and talk about it, they were about ready to storm in there, though. But before the dude can even press the doorknob, this dude bust down the front door and said, hello, and was coming out the gate swinging. And then, Mr. Ozawa had to whip his powers into play and, pull some people to the side. Izuku managed to rush in there, grab some people. Fat Gun managed to run in there and grab some people as well. And oh man, shoot, this dude was not holding back at all. And then Dragon Lady Ryuchu, she was like, oh shoot, nah, you ain't gonna pull this mess around here, bro. And this woman went into her dragon-fied state and basically was able to hold her own against this big old massive dude. This dude seemed like a freaking giant. Like, this dude was like about like the story, like the size of a single-story house. And I was like, oh my gosh, the matter of fact that this Dragon Lady Ryuchu was able to transform and be able to hold her own against this dude was pretty cool in itself, though. But I am hugely excited about all of these fights that are about to go down, though, because man, if y'all wanted some fights, y'all about to get it over the span of these next few episodes, though, because things are about to go down for real, though. And basically, while all of this was going down, with all this commotion that was going down outside, Overhaul was talking to one of these dudes, and and he basically said, hey, while they're basically getting slowed down by the people from the outside, and they basically kind of slowing them down, along with some other people that he basically had staged out along the way, he told them, hey, we're going to basically grab Eri, and we're going to grab any other evidence for their plans and disappear. So this dude basically had this contingency plan in play, and he was about to, have his people, take the fall in order, to protect their whole entire plot, essentially. Grab all of his resources and stuff, and, escape and live to fight another day, because he could not afford to get caught, at least not this early in the game. And this is where things is about to go down, and go down really interesting, because now you basically have Izuku and Togeda. They're basically the ones that look like they're spearheading the charge. Like, they're one of the people that are out in that front pack, and they're about to, bust down the door and try to work their way through the shortest route and try to get to Eri before they basically can escape. So now, we basically got these heroes racing against the clock, and essentially it's a matter of fact that, hey, can they get from point A to point B fast enough to where they'll be able to manage to stop Overhaul from escaping. This is the point that we're at in the episode, and that is essentially where the episode ends, though. So overall, I really thought this was an excellent episode, and the perfect bridge episode to kind of, tie in all the stuff from the previous episodes with all of the emotional and kind of depressing stuff, and then basically be able to bottle up all of that fear, anxiety, and everything else that was in between with that, and be able to finally, put themselves into action, and be able to change some stuff that they couldn't unfortunately do with the past, as Sir Night said at one point during the episode, though, but to be able to act upon what is here laid before them, right before their eyes, and be able to do what they couldn't have done back in the past. So overall, I was hugely impressed with this episode. I really enjoyed it, and oh gosh, that midway point whenever they got that phone call during the middle of the night, that's when my hype started to go up, because this is where stuff is going to get real. And these next few episodes, y'all better brace yourselves, because man, we about to dig into these meat and potatoes like there ain't nobody's business, though. But overall, I really enjoyed this episode, and y'all got to let me know down in the comments what all was your overall reactions and thoughts about this episode as a whole, though. So yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed it. But that is all that I have for y'all for this week's episode review over My Hero Academia. So if you really like this video, go ahead and hit that like button and that subscribe button and that bell to keep up to date on all things My Hero Academia. So will all the heroes manage to bust through the Hisakai headquarters defenses? And will Amajiki manage to hold his own against 3 powerful foes solo? And with every second counting, will it be a little too late for our heroes to rescue Eri? We'll have to find out about this and more in next week's episode review called Sun Eater of the Big 3. So remember, y'all, until whatever video I make next, go beyond. Pas Ultra!